Before we start the show, quick hello from Hugo. Hello chaps, tally bally ho. Anyway, I wanted to share this fantastic Breguet clock that was recently auctioned off at Sotheby's for a staggering 6.8 million US dollars there. It's a Breguet Sympathique and it belonged, I believe, to the Duke of Orleans. It was kept at his home in Paris. But what is really staggering, I mean, first of all, just look at it. At the top, you'll see there's a little pocket watch. And look at the pendulum, absolutely gorgeous. The real beautiful piece is the little Breguet. Oh, look at that. The little Breguet pocket watch that sits in the top. Just gorgeous. Is that a power reserve? Oh, look at that tortoiseshell. Beautiful detail with the Duke's initials there. Let's have a look, and there's the pocket watch. It just sat in the top. Isn't that gorgeous? I mean, that is real horology. Forget about the stuff you buy in a store. This is real. I mean, imagine owning that. What a beautiful thing. Oh, just look at the detail. It's exquisite, absolutely exquisite. Look at the clock face. Amazing. Oh, and you have around the outside, you have all the star signs. So you got Leo, Scorpio. Anyway, I thought I'd start the show with something a little special. Let's roll the intro and get into today's episode.
So, baby, please don't go. You got dimples in your jaw. You got dimples in your jaw.
Okay, hi guys, and welcome to the show. Today, I am going to be sharing 15 mistakes to avoid when buying a watch, and this particular video is aimed at buying new. So if you are buying vintage, which is a whole different ball game, I've done previous videos. Check out that the 10 questions videos. That's a great place to start. Also the eBay videos. There's a lot more to learn. It's a lot more complicated. I would kind of suggest that to the more experienced enthusiast. Although today we will be focusing on buying new. There are 15 mistakes that I kind of jotted down, and to be honest, I've made every single one of them, but that's the great thing about learning. We're all learning, we're all enthusiasts, we're all in this together. Please do add your own experiences down in the comments as well. It really is invaluable, and especially to anybody watching this, have a look at the comments, because we got such a fantastic community with a wealth of knowledge between us. Oh my god, I almost forgot. Wristwatch check. I'm wearing the Tissot Janeiro. This is my beautiful little manual wind chronograph. 1930s inspired design with the telemeter scale. It's a very modest 37 millimeter diameter. It's inspired by the collaborations between Tissot, Lemania and Omega back in the 30s. They made some terrific chronographs. It's kind of faux vintage, but faux vintage done extremely well. It's very rare these days. So I thought I'd just, enjoy it today. Anyway, wristwatch check done. Let's get on with the video. So, in no particular order of importance, I've just numbered them for reference, and also because otherwise I'm going to get lost. So we'll start at number 15. Always keep in mind on future servicing costs when buying a watch. Not so much quartz. I have another friend who just serviced his AP. Costs an absolute fortune. You could almost buy, well, you definitely buy a whole brand new watch for the servicing costs. So always keep that in mind. We do tend to forget about this kind of thing, especially the higher end stuff. So keep servicing costs in the back of your mind. If you're in the AD, I would advise asking, how long before I need to service it, etc. What are the costs like? And especially the more complicated the watch, the more complications, the more it's gonna cost. It's gonna push up the price, so always keep that in mind. Okay, so that was 15. Number 14, buy a watch that suits your lifestyle. Now, I'm definitely guilty of this. As you guys know, I love dress watches, but it doesn't match my lifestyle. I can't go out walking early wearing a Lange. It's ridiculous. I mean, he's gonna chew on it. You know, it's wise to always keep your daily activities, the kind of lifestyle you lead, in the back of your mind. I tend to gravitate towards divers or sports watches because I need that water resistance. I need that tough, a little bit more kind of durable, rugged watch, because you know, a dress watch isn't going to match my everyday activities. A fancy, delicate dress watch is probably not, unless you I don't know, you're an opera critic or something. That, well, then by all means get an ultra thin. You know, if you're wearing tuxedos every day, that would be an amazing job. I'd love to do that. Anyway. Sorry, getting off topic. Yeah, so buy a watch that suits your lifestyle. Okay, so that was 14. Number 13, and that is not to rush it. Okay, so maybe there are exceptions to this. If you're in an AD and you see something on special offer, then go for it. But generally, you want to take your time. You want to research. You want to get to know the watches. You're looking for true love here, okay? You're not looking for some, you know, no, I've almost said one night stand. That's not a good analogy to, how can I phrase this a bit more diplomatically, with a bit more finesse? Yeah, look, you're looking for true love, okay? Long-lasting relationships, okay? It's just like anything in life, and that takes time. And that time really depends on you. You've got to figure out, sometimes I get obsessed about a watch. A month later, I would have totally forgotten about it, wouldn't interest me. So had I have bought on that impulse, on that kind of obsession, a month later I'd be selling it. So you know, I've learned to slow down. It's different for me because I have a channel, you know, all the rest of it. Take it easy. See how you feel in a few weeks. If you're still obsessed about that watch, a month, 2 months down the line, most likely it's true love, you know. Let's move on. Okay, so that was 13. Number 12. Try and avoid buying on the grey market. I've done a video on this. I don't recommend the grey market. I'm a bit anti-grey market. Personally, I don't go beyond $1,000. I have bought plenty of watches on the grey market. I've bought an RS Aquis, I think, several Omegas. Some dealers, you know, are absolutely fine. Others, I've had really bad experiences. I got really burnt once. I bought an Omega Speedmaster. The chronograph didn't work, and I sent it back. They had a refund policy. It was absolutely fine, but I didn't read the small print. I got hit with a 10% restocking fee, 10% of, you know, what was it, 4 grand or something like that. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And for me, you know, I don't know about you guys, but I value every single dollar. I've worked my butt off for every single dollar I have. Even $10 I get upset about. So keep that in mind. Also, they don't have the official warranty. They have third-party watchmakers. If there's something wrong with it, you know, a year down the line, they send it to some third-party repair place. You don't know where the watch is going. Do you trust them with a 3,000-4,000, even 10? I wouldn't spend that money on the grey market. I think with a $1,000 Aquis diver, yeah, maybe it's okay. Calculate the risk factor yourself. If you're happy with risking that, you know, a couple of $100 possibly with restocking fees and all the rest of it, then that's fine. That's your prerogative. But for me, I've had very bad experiences on the grey market. It is not worth it. And sometimes if you go in an AD, you can get significant discounts that are, you know, it's never going to be as cheap as or as more affordable as the grey market, but it's worth saving and waiting a little more, going to the AD and getting, you know, the official documentation. You know, if there's any problems, you don't have to worry about it. International warranties as well that you get, you know, if you're buying an Omega, for example, that's the prime example. And I've bought Omegas that were faulty, not just the Speedmaster, misaligned bezels, this kind of thing. Honestly, it's not worth it. And there are some real cowboys out in the grey market. Just not worth it. You're better off going on the used market, really. Number 11, here we go. Try not to tick boxes. Buy what you really, really want, not to complement the collection. There are exceptions to this. If you are one of those guys that only collects Submariners and you want that rare, I don't know, the red sub, or if you want a particular reference or a particular year, then yes, ticking boxes makes sense. However, you know, buying a collection and then, oh, well, I need a dress watch. I've got a diver. I've got a field watch. I got a chrono. I need a dress watch. And then you never wear it because you just don't wear dress watches, or the opposite. You need a chronograph and you just don't wear chronographs, or you never even use it. It's a waste of money. Watches are supposed to be worn. Ticking boxes, it can be a dangerous game. On one hand, it can be beneficial because sometimes it's a good process of elimination. If you're trying to decide between two watches, it can be beneficial. I get asked all the time, should I buy this one or should I buy that one? Should I buy... Well, which do you like more? Which does it for you? Then do the ticking boxes, you know, the pros and cons. Do pros and cons for each one. Then ticking boxes can be beneficial. Going back to what I was saying earlier, it's got to be true love. You know, true love overrides any boxes to tick, all right? So that's 11, right? Let's go to, okay, number 10. Very, very simple, but you wouldn't believe how many people, and I've made this mistake as well, and that is to always try the watch on if you can. And I realize it's a bit difficult in this day and age. There's a lot of online sellers that, and especially with some micro brands, it's not possible to go in a store and try them on. But if you can, try. Go in ADs, you know, don't be scared of ADs. Some people are intimidated by, especially the higher end ADs. They're there to serve you. I understand with maybe some German brands here in the United States, or with some micro brands, it's difficult to do it. Try and borrow it off a friend, ask enthusiasts, go to forums, get an idea of the dimensions from your reviews. I always try and do the measurements with the calipers, you know, with the sellotape on the ends for you guys. I've bought watches that I never tried on and they were a terrible fit, and you end up wasting so much money. 9. Now this tip I found on a watch forum, and it's pretty good. I'll quote what the guy wrote. He said, instead of buying 3 watches you like 80%, buy one you like 110%. And there's a lot of logic in that. And I think it's got to do with, you know, I'm definitely guilty of this. I review watches all the time, so it's very difficult for me because I love a lot of watches. Point here is to wait. Try and be strong, try and resist. Right now I'm trying to save up for a Rolex Explorer, and I'm tempted to the money I've saved, I'm tempted, so I want to buy a Hamilton, I want to buy an Oris, I want to buy this, I want to buy that. Hold that out and get that watch you really, really, really want. It will be worth it in the end, because to be honest, I could buy the Hamilton chronograph. There's this little 38mm chronograph I'm dying to get my hands on. But I'll be honest, you know, I'll probably flip it, you know, 2 months. Although I'll get a lot of enjoyment, you've got to be strong. So it's a good tip to, especially if you tend to flip a lot, that's a good one to learn from. Okay, so that was number 9. Number 8, buying a watch to impress others, especially to show off. You gotta buy a watch to impress yourself. Don't buy watches that other people rave and love. You've got to love it. You're the one wearing it. It's not true love. It's a bit like marrying the girl. Why we always get back to marrying women and women. It's just the only analogy that has parallels. I'm part of the Italian, I can't help it, okay? So it's like marrying the girl that will impress the parents or impress your friends, rather than the girl that you just, you know, you really, because trust me, marrying the girl that you are absolutely besotted with and does it for you, that relationship is probably gonna last longer. Maybe I should start another channel. Because look, I've been married 10 years. I'm married for love, not against a lot of people's advice. So and I'm very happy. Whereas I know plenty of people, plenty of my friends that are divorced 3 times, and I've been married longer than all of them. So anyway, yeah, maybe I do know what I'm talking about when it comes to that. So yeah, what was I saying? Totally forgotten what I was saying. You gotta buy for true love, not to impress other people. You know, and there's nothing more distasteful and kind of repulsive than you know, people that buy flashy stuff just to show off. It's you know. So that was number 8. Number 7, and this is a big mistake, is not researching the watch. Always do a ton of research, okay? And you can do that while you're trying to figure out if it's a crush or if it's true love. Enjoy the hunt, enjoy it. That's part of the great thing about watches. Looking at its history, learning, because also you might find that there's a particular version or a particular dial combination or color scheme that you didn't know about. Had you not done the research, you're going to find out about it probably down the line, and then you're in that predicament where you've already bought the watch and it's like, but you know, I bought the grey dial and then I saw the blue dial. I didn't know about the blue dial. Now I want the blue dial more. Researching can save you so much money, and also it's a pleasure. And we're all in this to learn. It's a great passion and hobby to learn. So researching should be part of the experience, so enjoy it as well. Number 6, buying as an investment and not wearing the watch. Big mistake. Watches are supposed to be worn. They're supposed to be enjoyed. Buying watches for an investment is a really particular thing. It's a real skill. It's something for seasoned collectors and experts and real connoisseurs. I would leave it to them. It's not something you're suddenly into watches and I want to buy and invest. There are so many better things to invest your money in, honestly. Very few watches are solid investments. You know, it's got to be ultra rare, and then it's probably going to cost a fortune to buy it in the first place. You know, particular Rolexes. There are very few brands. It's a skill, it's an art. These things, these mechanical things, they're supposed to work. They're supposed to be in motion, you know, they're ticking away like a heart. You know, it's not supposed to sit in the safe. You could disagree with me, but personally I think it's a bit of a shame, you know. Number 5, buying watches that you're scared to wear. Now, I actually did this. For a long time, I was a 3-watch collection guy, believe it or not. And this was before I really started getting into watches. And I was very happy for almost 5-6 years. I'd have an expensive Rolex, a Datejust as my dressy watch, Seamaster as my everyday, and then I had a beta watch, which was usually a Casio or a Seiko, something along those lines. And that was it. I was very happy. But I was scared to wear the Rolex because I didn't want to scratch it, and it was in its kind of virgin state of perfection, you know, untouched by now let's rewind. Bad analogy. And it's a shame. It for the most part is sat in my safe. You know, watches are supposed to be worn. Don't be afraid to scratch it. You know, I'm covered in scars because I've lived life. Okay, I've made many mistakes and I've done silly, stupid things in my life, but the scars are there to remind me of a life that I've lived. The watches are the same way. Don't worry about scratches. I mean, they add character. They're scars. They're like medals. They're like stripes earned, of a life lived. So don't worry about it. I used to be absolutely obsessive, compulsive, and very pedantic about little marks and things like that. It's almost now when I buy a watch and it's got that first scratch, it's like, I can relax now. It's been worn in. You know, it's like a good pair of shoes. They need to be worn in. Don't be afraid to wear them. Wear them. Enjoy them. Life is so ruddy short. What's the point if you got all these high-end watches sitting in the safe, then you pop your clogs tomorrow and you've never enjoyed them? What was the point? So yeah, that was number 5. Number 4. Buying a watch too big or too small. I've definitely done this. I have tiny wrists, as you know, and for many years I bought watches far too big for me. They look clumsy, it doesn't suit my wrist. The big problem is most of the watches I love, most of the Thule aviation watches, they're just too big for me. They're uncomfortable, you know. I've learned to research and I found a whole world of watches that are in smaller sizes. So going back to researching more, yeah, a watch can be too small as well. That can happen. Most likely people buy watches that are too big. Part of that is the trend we've seen in the past decade. They tend to look unsophisticated, especially dress watches. They're supposed to be small. Most of the existence of dress watches, it was a competition of making the thinnest, most elegant. It was a sign of craftsmanship, of mastery of watchmaking, to make it thin and small. Not only does it look more elegant, there's a point to it as well, and I think we've forgotten about. Everyone wears these giant monstrosities. I do think the trend is reversing. You'll see companies now going back with their newer releases to more conservative realistic sizes. But look, guys, if you got massive wrists, ignore this. This is not for you. Then you're probably buying watches that are too small for you. So buy the watch that is right for your scale, not somebody else's scale, not what looks great on somebody else. For example, the Omega Speedmaster, right? No, sorry, actually that is a good example. We should use the Seamaster, the Omega, the Bond, right? The mid-size looks like the full size on me because I'm small at scale, okay? So it's got to fit you. So that was number 4. Number 3, never listen to the watch snobs, or in the UK we call them the Tommy Knowles. You know, the kind of guys, these nerdy guys that they're like, oh, the 65775 reference with the 65, you know. Don't get me wrong, I love watches, but I can't remember references to save. I don't even know the reference on my Submariner. Usually they'll dismiss, oh, you know, oh, it hasn't got the 3-to-1 movement, therefore it's not the all this. Being a snob basically is classless. It's derived from a Latin word, and I've said this many times, sin nivolante, and it translates as without nobility. And also it's strange because there's a ton of it, especially in watches. It's a trait of the petit bourgeois, you know, this kind of one-upmanship. Reeks of insecurity, of people that are not confident in themselves. You know, maybe they're questioning their own masculinity. There's issues there, and they're taking it out on the watch, which is ridiculous because obviously they're unhappy in their own lives and actually not anything to do with watches. Buy what you love, to hell what other people think, you know? Take advice, you know, taking advice into consideration is good, but don't buy something to impress the watch snobs, the Tommy Knowles and the snobs. Ironically, it's a really ignorant way to live life. You know, don't let other people's misery and unfulfillment and insecurities affect your love and your passion for watches. I never do, you know? I never do. I just onwards and upwards. So yeah, watch snobs, pay no attention to them whatsoever. Okay, so that was number 3. Number 2, try and avoid watches that are too outlandish in designs. Try and veer more towards more classic. I find that watches, and this goes for really high-end, I've seen some really high-end, you know, kind of the Richard Mille, the kind of super high-end stuff. It looks cool maybe in the mid-2000s, but now starting to look really kind of cheesy. And that goes for the entry level, you know, fashion watches as well. Try and avoid buying watches that are based on trends or fashion fads, because they're not going to last. You're not going to wear them a year from now when fashions change. Stick to classic proven designs. Like the Speedmaster is probably the most timeless. The Submariner, timeless. And I'm not saying just go high end, because there are, you know, the SKX or even the Orient Bambino, very classic traditional design. It's never gonna go out of fashion. Never gonna go out of fashion. You know, the Orient Mako 2 or the Citizen NY0040. My God, I actually remember the reference number. The ProMaster. You know, it's a classic. It's a classic. It's never gonna look dated. It's always going to be in style. Swatches are probably the exempt from this rule, because they are very much supposed to be, they're designed to be disposable, supposed to be of the current moment, and they are actually become collectible, you know, because it becomes kitsch. But that's a exempt from this particular bit of advice. But yeah, try and stick to classics. Okay, number one, and that is never to get into debt buying a watch. This is a big mistake. I don't think, have I ever made this mistake? No, I haven't actually. But that's just mainly, that's how I buy anything. I despise owing anybody money. Look, if you cannot afford the watch yet, just save. It's not worth it. At the end of the day, there are more important things in life, especially if you have family and real life responsibilities. Getting into debt over a watch, especially an expensive watch, is just, it's kind of shameful, you know. It's you know, there are certain situations where maybe with a credit card or maybe you come across a deal and yes, you have to go for it, then sure, if you can do it and you know you're financially responsible and you can handle that little bit of maybe putting it on the card, okay, that's fine. What I'm saying is just be responsible, because also you're gonna end up paying more with interest and all the rest of it. Slow it down, take it easy, take your time, enjoy the journey, enjoy the research, you know, because there's so much to learn and discover, and there's just so many watches out there, especially in all price ranges. It should be a pleasurable thing. Please, please do share your mistakes you've made. Anonymously if it's too embarrassing, but let's try and help out as many people as we can. And like I said, guys, if you want advice on buying used, that's a whole different category. I'll leave a link or a card thingy up there, wherever it is. So thank you very, very much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it and found it useful, and as always, guys, I will catch you in the next one. Okay, ciao.